It really, really is. Hello, everybody. This is Marcus C. Williams. You are listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. I want to thank you all for tuning in. This is 106.3 WRFZ FM. Thank you for tuning in. And we have got a great show for you guys today. This is upstate New York's #1 conservative talk show. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching online, drop a comment real quick, drop a share, put a thumbs up, put a heart, even if you just drop it in the comments, because every comment helps get it out there to more people. And we need more people to have the serious, important conversations that we have on this show. You know, and if you can, just hit the retweet button. It doesn't cost you a thing. Hit the share button, share it with your friends, your family, your enemies, everybody, because we all need to have these important conversations, which they're limiting us on having in the general public space. And if you drop an actual comment, please drop a heart or whatever in the comments, drop an American flag. That'd be the most awesome thing. But if you drop a comment, we'll do our best to pop it up on the screen so you can join in the conversation. Now, let's get to it. Man, boy, howdy. Have you guys been seeing what's going on in the Middle East? You know, we've got a president right now, and a lot of people right now in America are like, oh my goodness, free Palestine, free Palestine. We want a free Palestine. First of all, you don't even know what that's about. You don't know any history in regards to Palestine. You don't have the slightest foggiest of what's going on. But thankfully, we have a president that wants to keep us out of conflicts, especially internationally. And our president has been doing everything that he can to bring peace over there in that area. Now, it's great that we have a president that wants to bring peace over in that area, but Benjamin Netanyahu who is the head of Israel over there in Israel, clearly does not want peace. He wants problems always. And he wants these problems because what he's trying to create is greater Israel. And we've talked about this on this show before. We talk about this far too frequently because it affects us in the United States drastically. What he's trying to do is Netanyahu is trying to incorporate all of what used to be parts of Egypt right there. Gaza used to be part of Egypt. All of what is part of Jordan, most of what is in Syria, and a lot of what is also in part of Iran to create greater Israel. And he doesn't want anybody to stop him. Hey, who's that? Hey, Miss Brown, I see you joining in today. Thank you very much. You guys drop some comments. Just let me know that you're out there. Give a hand and a wave and let me know that you're out there and say, hey. So, yes, so Netanyahu is over there in Israel. Now, I want you guys to go back with me. Go back with me to October 6th, before the October 7th attack on Israel, when all of the Israelis were out in the middle of the street protesting Netanyahu because he was trying to get rid of the judicial powers and authorities, basically, so that the people couldn't have any say. So they wanted him out. Now, Netanyahu essentially wants to make himself king for life. Okay, if you don't know about Netanyahu, he is not a good man. Not whatsoever. So this doesn't have anything to do with Israel. This is completely to deal with him as an individual. He is completely dead set on being the last prime minister of Israel and making himself into a God king to bring forward what we as Christians would see is the end of times, the end of the world. Okay, the return of Jesus, or the rise of the devil, and the book of Revelation. That's what his goal is, which him and his people think that is going to be, oh, so great, and whatever the case is. Absolutely not. I'm completely against that. I don't think that we should be ushering in revelations, okay? Like, that's like the whole thing with the Bible and everything is those prophecies are warnings to prevent us from having those type of issues. But he seems very dead set on bringing about all types of calamity. And it's problematic, because it's not even the will of the large portion of the Israeli people. They're trying to go about their daily lives and live their lives, and he wants to put them continuously into conflict. Now, right now, fortunately, the U.S. for them is on their side, and it would look bad for the U.S. not to be helping out Israel in any way. But let me tell you about the government of Israel, right? Like the government of Israel is actively working against the United States all the time. This isn't uncommon. You understand what I'm saying? And people will say, oh, well, if you can't talk about Israel because that's anti-Semitic. First of all, I don't know what the new country of Israel has to do with anybody being anti-Semitic when the majority of them don't practice the Torah at all. And that's a hard conversation to have that nobody actually wants to have. And that's why they keep getting into all sorts of problems. Like the Bible is right there. The Torah is right there. The Torah is the story of how the Hebrews could not get right. And you know, and you have to ask yourself, with all of these stories about the issues that were created by them not actually following the law and living the way that they were supposed to, how are they over there as a nation talking about, oh, well, everybody believes in this? No, they don't. No, they don't. First of all, there are many sects of Judaism over there in Israel. That's number one. Okay. And we're not going to drill down into that the way I'd like today. But the fact of the matter is that when you continue to go against the Torah and you want to go by the Kabbalah or any of these other extra attached books that they want to call, they say that they're like rabbinical teachings. Think of it like if you're a Catholic or if you're or if you have a history in theology and Christianity, we've got all of these fathers of the church teachings or whatever the case is. So they have that various books of that as far as they do in Judaism. And some of them are good. Some of them are not so good, especially the ones that they say essentially are their leading things, because that ain't got nothing to do with the Torah. As a matter of fact, if you read some of the stuff, you'd be like, what the heaven is this? You'd be like, it's crazy. But that's neither here nor there. The point of the matter is, this man does not represent everybody in Israel. He does not represent anybody that necessarily considers themselves to be Jewish. He is not a God king. So to speak against a lot of the actions that he's doing, which are not in the best interest of the people in Israel, which are not in the best interest of the United States, which are completely in his own personal best interest, is not a problem. It's not wrong. And we need to have those important conversations. Do you know that right now, Israel is really chummy with China? That Israel is funding China, deeply invested into China, and is buddy-buddy with China, which is our enemy? Explain it to me like I'm 5. If Israel is supposed to be our best friend, how that's the case. Explain it to me like I'm 5. You know why it's the case? Because it's not about America. It's about what they believe they can do to be what's best for them. And when it comes to America, we need to do what's best for us. And right now, Netanyahu wants to go blow up Iran. I've told you guys this before, where we had the issue, Miss Brown, I see you commented, but it didn't pop up on the screen. You might want to type that again. Okay. We see this issue right now where they want to go and they want to blow up Iran, right? But I warned you guys that was coming. That's why what was happening in Syria was happening. That's why they were doing all of those attacks and sorties that they were flying over in Syria. I was like, they're clearing a pathway so that they can have a clear pathway right to go into Iran. I said that right here on this show. I got the recordings to back it up. This is what I've been warning about. This is what Israel's going to do. Now, the problem with that is we don't know how that's going to cause other people to react or how other things or pieces on the chessboard are going to move. What's China going to do now that they're doing that, right? Will that embolden China to go over and mess up Taiwan or do something crazy over there in the Philippines or where Japan is? Do we know? No, we do not know. Okay, why are they doing this at this time when our president, Donald Trump, is over there trying to negotiate a peace deal with Iran? Explain it to me like I'm 5. If we're negotiating a peace deal and then all of a sudden Israel wants to blow up Iran, is that the best interest of what's good for America? No. That's them looking out for number one, specifically Netanyahu looking out for number one, not even necessarily his own countrymen. Because I got some questions and some concerns. Now, the other secondary part to that is I thought Iran was a big, bad mamma jamma. That's what I was told. Oh, they're so bad. They need to get blown up. They're so bad. They hate everybody. They're so bad. Do they? Do they? Are they so big and bad? Because you're telling me they're so big and bad, but Israel done decapitated their people over there, and now they don't have any leadership, and they ain't even bust a grape. Iran ain't even bust a grape, and Israel done destroyed half their country. Explain it to me like I'm 5, how Iran was so big and bad. It sounds like somebody is playing in my face and misleading me. Thank you, Miss Brown. I see you. You sent me some stars. Thank you so, so much. You guys, you can send stars if you're on Facebook. Please drop a couple stars. That'd be awesome. Or you guys, you can donate to the show on Cash App, $MW Real, the number 1. That's $MW Real 1. We're trying to raise $25 to $50 an episode so we can get more airtime. Airtime's not free, but we'd love it and appreciate it if you even drop like 10, 25 bucks. That'll help get us some more airtime. You can also donate on Venmo and PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. Now, let's get back into it. So they're blowing up Iran, and Iran ain't even doing nothing back. Oh, Iran threw a couple of missiles up in the air, and they didn't hit nothing. Well, 1 missile hit in Tel Aviv. Well, 2 missiles hit in Tel Aviv. 2 missiles hit. And I got questions, right? Like, did they really hit? How much is it? Because, you know, Israel's got the Iron Dome and the U.S. is over there shooting down those missiles too, which I don't necessarily think that we should be doing. Because the problem with Israel acting the way that they act as the government, not the people, okay, kind of like how they talk about the Chinese, they'd be like the CCP, not the Chinese people. Okay, with what the Israeli government is doing over there is they always starting some stuff and dragging us into it. It's like that cousin that you got that's always causing problems and conflicts and then drags you into it because they're like, oh, you should help me. You should defend me because this big bad person is picking on me. Really, they're the ones starting the problems. Come on now, let's have a real conversation. If you want to be part of the conversation, drop a comment below, drop a comment, share this video out. Let's have this real serious conversation because what's going on in Iran right now is completely in conflict to what our administration was trying to do. They were trying to come together with a peace deal with Iran to bring peace in the area. And Israel was telling us, and the government's been telling us for a year, Iran is so big and so bad when really they ain't even over here able to bust a grape. So have we been lied to this whole time? What's really real and what's really good? Somebody tell me. If you listening, drop a comment. Okay, if you want to be part of the conversation. But we need to be having these conversations because it seems like we've been manipulated. Same thing with Ukraine, right? Like Russia's a big, bad, horrible person. Russia's so bad. Putin's so bad. Russia's so big. Russia's so bad. Russia can't beat a nothing country. No offense to any Ukrainians, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Compared to the 3rd largest army in the world, Russia can't beat Ukraine. Like, what's going on? Like, either there's some part of the story that's not being adequately told to us, or the whole thing that everybody's been selling us is a lie. I don't know. You pick. Okay, either way, we're being manipulated very, very, very clearly. I was watching one thing where Israel was dropping some bombs on Iran and they were giving like one of those TV television talking people. And they were like, this is bad and they shouldn't be bombing us. And, and then they bombed the news place that that they were talking from in Iran. That was kind of funny. You know, it was funny. That was funny. Okay, I'm not saying it was right, but I'm saying it was funny. But that was kind of funny. But the fact of the matter is Israel's like, oh, we've got air supremacy over Iran. We run stuff here. Y'all can't do nothing to us. Blah, 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 blah. If they so tough as nails, they don't need our help. They don't need our help. They're already working with our greatest enemy. Okay. Are we going to talk about that? They already don't treat Christians good over there. But can we ever talk about that? Absolutely not. That's a conversation for another video. We've talked about that before, though. Are we going to have a real conversation about what's going on? This is completely about the Israeli government, not the Israeli people, but the Israeli government trying to form what they're calling Greater Israel, which is a combination of all of the lands that are over there. They want to take over the Middle East. And I am not a fan of the U.S. sitting here allowing that to go on by pushing it and defending these people. Yes, Israel's got the right to defend themselves 100%. Israel's got the right to go start any wars that they want, 100%. But that doesn't mean that they got the right to try to drag us into some nonsense where our people will be targeted or our people will be made to look bad or our people might end up having to risk their lives or be under attack because of it. I believe that the U.S. should prioritize ourselves the same way that Israel prioritizes itself. Hello? Is anybody out there? Y'all feel me? Okay? Because if they prioritize themselves over anything and everything else, we should prioritize ourselves over anything and everything else. I'm just saying. These are serious issues, but we can't even talk about them because whenever you say something, they want to try to shut you down. And they'll label you anti-Semitic or hateful or whatever. But I tell you right now, it's not about anything to do with the religion, right? That's the other trick and game that they try to play on you, is that if you talk about anybody that considers them is considered to be ethnically Jewish, not actually a practicing Jew or practicing Hebrew, or somebody who actually practices the Torah, which we're going to have an episode on that one of these days, on what they actually believe and what they actually practice, like we were starting to talk about a little bit earlier. But this is what happens when we let these people that are in charge of the governments of the world manipulate our people. This is why the people in Israel were protesting against Netanyahu before October 7th. Right on October 6th, they were still protesting him. Like, can we have that conversation? I'm going to tell you what I see happen on October 7th, because nobody's going to tell me that they didn't know what was going to happen on October 7th. As big and as good as Mossad is, like, I got mad respect for Mossad. Them people is bad mamma jammas, okay? If you think of the CIA, think of 4 times better than the CIA. No offense to the CIA, but they just way better and way smoother, okay? Mossad they do it. You understand what I'm saying? But you mean to tell me that they didn't know what was going on? But we've already found out that they did know what was going on. We found out that Netanyahu knew what was going on. We found out that the war minister knew what was going on. We found out that all of these other people knew what was going on. And some of them have been forced to resign because they knew what was going on. And it got leaked out that they knew what was going on. And they just let the October 7th attack happen magically when the people were protesting Netanyahu in order to galvanize the whole country against a united enemy. Instead of Netanyahu, all of a sudden that happens. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that that has anything to do with it. I'm just saying maybe we should question the timing. Maybe we should question the military intelligence. Maybe we should question the Mossad intelligence. You mean to tell me that the biggest intelligence apparatus in the world didn't know that that scale of an event was planned? Come on now. And then if you knew the history of Mossad and the history of Israel's government and the way that they really operate, then you'd be like, absolutely. And this is the conversations that we can't actually have because people don't want to have it because they're too scared. But my whole contention is this. I don't care or give a flying monkey's uncle what Israel does. I'm just saying that when it comes to war and conflict, the U.S. has no business in any war or conflict that Israel is starting. None. Because that's what it is. Now, you want to tell me Iran is big and bad? Okay, fair. But I don't see them busting the grape now that Israel done blown them all up sky high. And I told you months ago that Israel was clearing a path so that they could go right into Iran. Okay? You mean to tell me that you think that Iran's military didn't know that was going to happen? You mean to tell me that I am just so much of a prophet that nobody else could see that? Yeah, I am a prophet, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying I put it out there, and I'm sure the military intelligence agencies could pick that up as well. Like, it's not hard to see strategically what was going on. Like, it's not very difficult at all. So for you to tell me that they didn't see that coming, I also put a tweet out that Israel was preparing to blow up Iran about a week or two ago. But that whole thing got delayed until now. So again, you mean to tell me that didn't nobody in Iran knew that stuff was coming and didn't do nothing to protect to try to stop it? No, they done got us all scared up about Iran, and Iran can't bust a grape. Somebody explain it to me. Explain it to me like I'm 5, because something don't sound right, it don't look right, and it don't smell right. And if it don't smell right, look right, or sound right, it probably is not right. We're being misled. But that goes into a greater thing on the scale of the world that is happening right now. And we're really about to get into it and dig into it real quick about all of the crazy stuff that's going on right now that we're not really having a conversation about to connect the dots. I really want to know what's going on with China in the Middle East and them working with the UAE and Qatar, especially Qatar. Somehow everything always goes back to Qatar. I don't get it. They seem to always be involved with our enemies or always be funding some people that's trying to tear up America, and we always dealing with them. I don't get it. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. But anyway, so now China is a very interesting topic. But before that, you guys are listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We're here on WRFZ 106.3 Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. Tell a friend, tell them to tune in, tell your enemy, tell them to tune in, share it on your page, your friend's page, in other groups, and everywhere you can, and hit that retweet button because it don't cost you a dime. Hit it and it'll get the word out there just fine. Drop a comment if you want to be part of this conversation, okay? And please do donate. We're working to raise $25 to $50 an episode so we can get some more airtime. Airtime is not free. If you guys would like to advertise, please let me know. We'll give you guys a shout out. That'd be awesome. You can donate on Marcus. It's PayPal or Venmo at Marcus C. Williams, or you can do it on Cash App, which is $MW Real, the number 1. Now let's get into it. This whole stuff is so disgusting, it makes you want to spit. Now, here we go. Let's get into some of the stuff in America, and we'll go right back overseas in a minute. Over the weekend, we had a number of things happen, just crazy madness all over the place. So one of the big issues that we had over the weekend, which kind of went under the radar, was some New Jersey illegal aliens escaped a detention facility in New Jersey. About 4 of them. Apparently, 2 of them were caught, and now the FBI is raising a $25,000 reward for the other 2, so that if you find them, that you can get $25,000. I don't know where they are, but $25,000, it sounds like a good amount of money. Maybe I need to get my bounty hunter license, okay? But they're also probably bad mamma jammas, you know what I'm saying? But this is a serious situation. And if you guys are in New Jersey, I know some of you guys that support me are in New Jersey. Please be on the lookout, go online and find out more about that. But not just that. We also had the riots in LA, which are still continuing. You know that they went into one of the ICE detention centers over there. They were trying to, and they essentially not blew up like with a whole bomb, but like firebombed it with like some, Molotov cocktails and fireworks and stuff. Now, this is a federal facility, and weren't these people, that was in Oregon, Portland. Now, that was over there. Now, weren't they just complaining about, oh, well, they've got the National Guard in California. Maybe they needed the National Guard and the Marines in Portland, too. Now, if you guys know me very much, I am not about extending the military to be used inside the U.S. for any type of reason, shape, or form. But this shows you how volatile these situations are. You mean that they're out there firebombing federal buildings? And that didn't even make the news. Did you see that? I bet you didn't see that in the news anywhere. Go look it up. Yeah, and you gotta have to dig too. You'll find it, but you'll have to dig. But this is crazy. And we should be having this serious conversation. And they're talking about, oh, well, they support they support they support Mexicans and stuff like that. Don't deport them, this, that, and third. Excuse me? The vast majority of the people being deported are not even Mexican. So can we have that conversation to start off with? That the majority of the people being deported aren't Mexican? And this is not a exclusive thing to Spanish people. They done deported a whole bunch of Haitians, whole bunch of Africans. They even deported that guy online. What's his name? Kwame, whatever his name is, that goes like this. He makes a face. If you guys are listening on the radio, you can't see me, but he makes this face where he puts his hands up and he goes like, and like, what is that? You know? So that guy, he's like a TikTok star. Okay. So he got deported because he's here on an overstayed visa. And then Trump said that he's going to crack down on overstayed visas. And if you guys have been following me for some time, that is my biggest pet peeve. Out of all the illegals that need to go back, I believe very firmly the overstayed visas need to go back first. Okay. Next to the criminals, after the criminals, I guess second, after the people that have been charged with crimes here in the US. Because they're completely going about by manipulating our actual immigration system, because they came here the right way and then they decided to stay the wrong way. And it was all intentional. It's not like they didn't know. They're not here by mistake still. They didn't want to go back to wherever they come from. Okay. So I'm about sending every last one of them back. I'm not afraid to say it because they disservice the Black community the most. I am a Black American and all they do is disservice the Black community. Let's get into that real quick. So all this illegal immigration, right? A lot of it really started to pick up in the 80s and the early 90s when they started to ship all of these Mexicans up here to take the jobs that traditionally Black Americans would be doing. Okay, it expanded when they shipped all of the jobs out for manufacturing to other countries, including Mexico and China, during the early 90s under Clinton. Then it's hastened very, very fast over the last couple of years since Obama. Now, Obama did kick out I don't remember how many it was. Was it like 3 million people or something like that? He kicked out a lot of illegal aliens. But the fact of the matter is that they were still clearing the way for these people to come over here and take these jobs like farming jobs or construction jobs that were traditionally Black American jobs. Okay? Go look at it. This isn't something that's unknown. Go look it up. My family is in New York because we came here during the Great Migration. That was when all of the skilled laborers and tradesmen that were Black from the South moved up to the industrialized portion in the northern states so that they could get more jobs. So when people say that Black Americans built this country, that's not a figurative speech. That is a legitimate statement because those were the people who made up the vast majority of the workforce and the laborers. Okay, so more so than anybody else in any other demographic. Okay, and that's something that we can't have a conversation about. But then they tried to undercut us with all of these Mexicans coming in, okay, and trying to make it so that they pay them less so that they don't pay us at all. And Mexicans and Spanish people, they is mad racist. They do not like Black people. They are not just racist, they're very exclusionistic. They only want their people on the job sites. That's why if you look at any of the job sites that they're on, it's only Mexicans, okay? Or it's only Venezuelans. They don't like each other either, and they only want their own people on their own work sites. So this is a conversation that we need to have because that's not just something that affects Black tradesmen, that's something that affects white tradesmen, but we can't have that conversation because people don't want to talk about that. And then they'll say, oh, well, look at all of the buildings and stuff that aren't being built because they sent all of the illegal aliens home and all of them are scared and stuff like that. Well, wait a second. Before they all flooded into this country, we were building houses. We were having crops picked and stuff like that. So they couldn't have possibly been picking all the crops or building all the houses because they weren't here. So who was doing it? And then that's a real conversation that we need to have, but nobody wants to have that level of conversation. And the fact of the matter is most of those jobs that they have now are Black American jobs. Nobody wants to talk about that, but because they could pay them less, they've funneled them in there. Meat packing and manufacturing and stuff like that. Are you serious? Also, this goes back to Lyndon B. Johnson and the deindustrialization of city centers when they moved the manufacturing out of the cities, okay, which is another conversation for another time. But this is serious. This immigration stuff isn't just part of some small thing, and we should not be standing up for these illegal aliens. And they're like, oh, well, let's wave Mexican flags. Well, go back to Mexico, bro. I feel that same way about Venezuela and anywhere else you want to wave a flag from. I don't care what country it is, especially France. You want to wave a French flag, go back there. I appreciate and I respect everybody who comes to this country legally and wants to do it the right way, especially if you want to become an American citizen and you believe in our country so much and you are a patriot of our nation. Alternatively to that, everybody can kick rocks and get out. I believe that we should end migration and not migration, but immigration, because migration is internally in the country, immigration for 10 years so that we can clean up these ridiculous illegal aliens, people here on overstayed visas, and the processing delays that we already have now, so that we can actually start clearing up the refugee list that we have. How about helping the refugees out? Nobody wants to talk about the refugees. Right here in the city of Rochester, where I live, Catholic Family Charities, or whatever they're called, okay, which have missed their mission, okay, because I don't see you out here helping Catholics like that. I don't see you out here helping Christians like that. And the Bible says that you're supposed to help your people first and foremost. And I see a lot of struggling Catholics out here and a lot of struggling Christians that could use your assistance, and you're assisting illegal aliens. Don't get me started. But they're like, oh, well, we're ending our refugee program because the government is cutting some of the funds for our refugees or whatever. Lies. What happened is they started pushing the illegal aliens and doing stuff for illegal aliens, and they completely lost the plot on helping the refugees that they were helping. So now they were helping the illegal aliens because they saw that was a way for them to get money and stuff like that, and to help these causes that are destroying and pulling down our nation. Because the majority of the people who work there aren't even real Christians. Maybe if they claim to be Christians, maybe they need to examine themselves. Okay, but if you're trying to tear down our nation, you very much clearly are not following the Bible the way that it is supposed to be. If you guys want to chime in on the conversation, please drop a comment. I'll try to pop your comment up on the screen. Drop an American flag or a thumbs up in the comments, or just say a hey, I'm listening. Hey, I'm here. And let me know you're out here. Dave just said something. Dave says, get Marcus topic has you all worked up. It definitely does, Dave. It definitely does have me all worked up, because when these people claim to be Catholics and Christians and stuff like that, and they're not helping the Christians and Catholics out here in the world, it is a problem for me. Like, they're helping illegal aliens when Christians are getting slaughtered in Nigeria, when Christians are getting slaughtered in Kenya, when they just slaughtered like 3,500 Christians in Syria in 1 month. Are they helping them? Absolutely not. Are they helping the Christians in Azerbaijan? The Armenian Christians, are they helping them? Absolutely not. Are they helping the actual native-born Catholics and Christians in the U.S.? Absolutely not. And we need to have this conversation, because they're not helping us, but they got in their name Catholic Charities. You're full of malarkey. Examine yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the serious problems. These are the serious problems. If you want to be part of the conversation, jump in, drop a comment. Kevin, I see you. You said I'm listening. If you guys are listening out there, just drop a I'm listening or a thumbs up or a heart or an American flag in the comments. Definitely share this on your page. Share it with your friends. Share it everywhere you can, because we need to have these important conversations. So this group out here, nonprofit Having Being Self, okay, is out here talking about, oh, we've got to scale back on our refugee services. Lies. Lies. Absolute lies. Okay, why is it a lie? Because they weren't focusing on the refugees. They were focusing on illegal aliens. Hello. But can we have that conversation? No, we can't. But again, they're not even helping the right people to begin with. Are those illegal aliens? Are they practicing Christianity, right? What about our Christians right here? It says, the Bible says that you're supposed to help your own people first, right? Like, what's going on? Somebody explain to me like I'm 5. You understand? But anyway, they're like, oh, we got to shut stuff down, and they got a boo-hoo sad story on the news, on the radio and stuff like that. Later for you and your fake Christian self. I said exactly what I said. See, here's the deal, you guys. If you're listening and you're not Christian, you might not understand. But if you're listening and you're Jewish, the Jewish people know what time it is, because they only help themselves. They only help other Jews, okay? Very rarely will they do a mitzvah for somebody else, okay? But they help themselves. The Muslims, it's the same thing. They only help themselves. They don't help other people. They got it down. But apparently as Christians, we're supposed to help everybody else and not the actual Christians. That makes me more frustrated than anything else in the world, okay? And it's important that we talk about it. Very important. Very, very, very important. But anyway, they mad because they ain't getting no more funding for illegal aliens. Cut all the funding for the illegal aliens, which takes me into the next topic of what happened over the weekend. So in Minnesota, this lady was shot dead. I can't remember her name, Sarah somebody or some other thing. And the guy and her husband, and the guy's name that got shot was Hoffman, Joe maybe? I think it was Joe Hoffman. It's not really a big deal, but this part is a big deal. The fact that those were two Democrats, one was in the Senate, one was in the legislature, and what happened is they were trying to get a budget deal passed, you guys, for the Minnesota, for their legislature, right? For their, whatever you want to call it, you know, how you have like in the state, you either have in New York, we have an assembly. So they might have a house or a legislature, they'll call it, depending on what state you're in. And then we have the state senate. I think pretty much every state has a senate. They all call it the same thing for that. But these people were actual elected officials and they were Democrats, right? Like, and they weren't like loosey-goosey Democrats. Like they were Democrats. Nobody would question that they're Democrats, right? Like true to the cause Democrats, right? And what happened is they were trying to come up with a budget deal with the Republicans in the state. So in order to get the budget deal, what the Republicans wanted and they wouldn't move or budge on was getting rid of the funding for free healthcare for illegal aliens. So in order for them to get the budget deal that they wanted, they would have to give some, right? You got to give some to get some. Sometimes there has to be some compromise. So the compromise was on the free medical assistance for illegal aliens. So the lady and the lady in the House and the guy in the Senate, they're like, okay, we'll give you the one vote that you need as long as we can make the compromise on this budget bill. And that's how we'll move forward because this will help all the Minnesotans, right? So then all of a sudden, not even 6 days, 4 or 5 days after that, now all of a sudden, the only two people that voted on that, one got assassinated, the other one was an attempted assassination, right? Does that smell clean to you guys? Because it smells like a load of horse manure to me. You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden, these people that broke ranks with the Democrats for the betterment of the whole state and the actual Democrat Party to get a budget done, they were taken out, right? And then people are like, oh, well, the guy said he voted for Trump. Where did he say that? Oh, well, the guy was he was a evangelical Christian. What does that even mean? You understand what I'm saying? First of all, the guy was appointed by Tom Walsh, okay? You know, Tom Walsh, Kamala Harris, okay? Mr. Tampons in girls' bathrooms, Tampon Tim, okay? He was appointed by that guy to a couple of different committees and workforce development companies, okay? It's crazy. Like, are we going to have a conversation about it? Then he had a security company that was getting contracts from the state, okay, under Tim Walz. Like, are we going to have this conversation? Then allegedly, this is the guy that killed these two people. And if you listen to the leftists and a lot of these Democrats that aren't really caught up with everything that's going on, they're like, oh, well, he was a Trump supporter. No, he wasn't. You have nothing to substantiate that he was a Trump supporter. Okay, somebody's like, oh, well, he voted for Trump. How do you know he voted for Trump? Is there a verification? Because I'm pretty sure that all the voting records are sealed. How do you know that? He seems to be pretty buddy-buddy with the Democrat administration. You understand what I'm saying? And all of a sudden you're telling me, now let me get this clear, right? You're telling me that this guy who has a history of being ingratiated with the Democrats, clearly Democrat, okay, all of a sudden supposedly voted for Trump, supposedly, right? But attempted to assassinate one, assassinated the other, people who voted in favor of the bill to stop illegal aliens from getting medical assistance for free. That's what you're telling me? That's what you want me to believe? Make that make sense. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I see somebody dropped a comment. Who dropped a comment in here? Fruits of the Family. Fruits of the Family says Family Life Network Christian Radio is, I believe, falsely reporting that it's an assassination carried out by an elective abortion supporter. Bogus. Bogus nonsense. Bogus nonsense. And even if it was, he supports elective abortions. That's why he got rid of them. That doesn't sound like a very right cause either. You know what I'm saying? On the right, we don't really support elective abortions. And if we did, you're calling him a Christian, evangelical Christian, and now apparently he supports elective abortions. I can't even deal. It's like none of the information adds up. 2 plus 2 to me is still 4. I mean, I might have been taught wrong. Maybe 2 plus 2 isn't 4, but it seems that none of this is adding up at all. But what we do know is they voted to cut off the funding for illegal aliens for free medical service, and then they were killed, right? So for you to tell me that that's someone that's from the right, I'm gonna tell you, use a bold-faced lie. Use a bold-faced lie and ain't no truth in you. Hit the heart button, hit a like, okay, hit a thumbs up. Definitely share this out on your page or on a friend's page. If you're watching on X, hit the retweet button. It don't cost you nothing. Yeah, so this is an important conversation to have. Like, we need to have these important conversations. Drop a comment and I'll pop your comment up. So now they're like, oh, well, he was an evangelical. I want to go into that, right? So I've been for like maybe greater than 8 months, right? Trying to figure out exactly what an evangelical Christian is. So apparently an evangelical Christian is just somebody who feels called to evangelize. I'm a Christian. I evangelize. Does that make me evangelical? I wanted to know, right? Like, I don't know. So I consider myself non-denominational Christian, but I have Baptist leanings, but I'm not about that non-dispensationalism. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The Christians out there know what I'm really talking about. Dispensationalism, that whatever that is, I'm not so fond of that. But the whole conversation is that evangelical is somebody that's called to preach the gospel. That's where that comes from. So if that's where that term comes from, how all of a sudden is that something that's bad? How are you labeling people evangelical like that's bad because they're supposed to go out and preach the gospel? Because they're supposed to stand on business? This is like how the FBI labeled the people that go to Latin Mass as extremists because they attend traditional Latin Mass in the Catholic tradition. Like, can we talk about that? Like, they're just trying to label Christians terrorists because the Democrats hate Christians. The Democrats hate Christians. And I don't know how you could be an actual Christian, call yourself a real Christian, and be a Democrat. Maybe an independent, but not a Democrat, not at this standpoint. Okay, and I'd encourage you to leave the Democrat Party because clearly they're about killing the babies, killing the elders, and pushing all types of stuff that's against the teachings of Christ, okay, including the perversion of sexual immorality, okay, the sexualization of children, and alphabetism. And if you look at the Bible, some sins are sins, right? But it's double worse when you're propagating and pushing out that sin, encouraging other people to sin. But that's a conversation that we don't want to have. But we need to have that. So this is real serious. And it's crazy that we can't have these serious conversations. David made a comment. Let's see what David's talking about. David says his wife worked for Governor Walz when he was a rep for Walz. That's a fact. Exactly. Like, he worked for him, his wife worked for him, and you telling me that somehow all of a sudden he was on the right. Get out of town. You selling a false bill of goods. Like, anybody that believes that needs a hug and needs their brain checked because something ain't right. It's wrong. It's very clear that whatever he was on about, it had nothing to do with the causes from so-called Republicans or the right or anything like that. Because again, if anything, why would somebody that believes in Republican stuff or the right stuff or whatever you want to call it, why would they assassinate somebody that just helped their cause? And now that would lead you to believe that, seeing that those people were amenable to move in this measure at this point, they might be amenable to move in for other measures in other points. So, I mean, like, this is crazy. Now, what you guys are going to see is, because this is political violence and it's coercion through political violence, okay? This is a problem, because now that means that nobody else is going to break from the Democrat side of things as far as the extreme stuff that they're pushing. And that's a very, very problematic thing. And even, I'm sure, some Republicans might not want to vote for what they would normally vote for because they're scared that they might get murdered. This is serious. This is very, very serious. And we need to have this real conversation. If it was me, I'd round everybody up and they'd all be going to jail, because I don't trust none of them. Everybody be under a microscope right now. And they're talking about, oh, well, now that they caught him, the investigation can begin. Bogus. Bogus. Because the investigation should have been begun, because, one, I don't even know if this guy really did it. But two, it's very clear that this guy didn't do it of his own volition. Like, a normal person just doesn't do this type of stuff, right? So they either have to be coerced or paid, or they're a scapegoat. Anything and everything being equal, it's very clear that he wouldn't have had the tactics or the ability to go after somebody for this, I guess you would say, stated cause, to go after them unless he was pushed to do so. I'd wonder, is it somebody in the administration under Walsh that had something to do with this? I wouldn't put it past them after the way that they've dragged Republicans and conservatives for the last almost year. You understand what I'm saying? You know, it's so disgusting, it makes you want to spit. But this is the problem. And this is why we need to have these conversations. Drop a comment, drop a heart, just drop a little emoji in the comments. Let me know you're listening. Say, hey, I'm listening. Say, hey, I'm out here. And give a thumbs up or a heart. Okay, because I see more of y'all watching than I see hearts. So drop some hearts and some comments. And if you listen to us on the radio, make sure that you tell your friends, family, enemies, and your next door neighbors. On Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m., tune into The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 FM. So here's the deal. This is a very serious thing for political violence, and I'm very concerned about Minnesota, okay, for a number of reasons, okay? Now let's see what really happens. I bet you see a rise of the Islamists out there now, because the Islamists were already out there doing big things themselves. And now they're going to be the only ones with any backbone or spine to actually continue to stand up, because they about that life, okay? Say what you want to about them. They're about that life, and they will not back down, and they are more than willing to sacrifice their lives for what they believe in. And I guarantee you right now they're going to have snap elections to replace at least the one lady, okay? And I bet you they put some far left liberal in that seat. Watch, mark my word, mark that down, because I guarantee you it's going to happen. And we're going to have a show about that at some other point. A couple of other things I'd like to get into is LA. We saw the continued riots over there right now. And I thought that Governor Newsom and what's her name, Bass, was going to do something about it. Apparently not. They just want to yell at Trump and say, oh, Trump is a bad man. Okay, Trump's a bad man. So go do something to stop the crime and the violence and the destruction of property. If he's so bad, you go do something, right? Like, I mean, like, if I'm supposed to take you at your word and Trump is a bad man, then how come I don't see you moving to stop it? And they're like, oh, well, the deportations are what caused this. What? You mean that because the people that are in this country illegally were being kicked out for being here illegally, that caused these people to push to overthrow our government through acts of violence to get their way, and we're supposed to be okay with that? No, all of them should be in prison, not jail, you guys, prison. Okay, because again, this is coercion through political violence. That's all that is. Then they got these No Kings protests. Oh man, let me start on these No King protests. Okay, the No Kings protest is another bunch of malarkey, okay? Because what the No Kings protests are, and you could agree with me or disagree with me, it don't matter, it's a fact. These No King protests are a unity rally for hate. These are rallies about hate, nothing else, not love, okay? They're about hate, indifference, and bigotry. These people hate Trump. These people hate Republicans. These people hate Christians. They don't care about anybody else but their own selves and their own way of thinking. And if you even deviate from them a little bit, like you could be a hardcore leftist. Let's just say that you don't believe that they should sexualize kids and put pornographic material books in children's schools. They'll throw you out. They'll cast you out. You'll be the worst person in the world to them just because you disagree with them on one portion. You know, let's just say that that you support the police, you know, and you're on the left. Like they'll hate you. They won't like you because you support one thing different than what they are. It's about bigotry. It's about uniting everybody in hate. And then they're like, oh, well, it's a democracy. We're fighting for our democracy. We've never been a democracy, you guys. Our founding fathers spoke explicitly against us being a democracy because they said that a democracy turns into tyranny every single time. They were saying that it usually leads to monarchy every single time. What it is it leads to a ruling class of elite that controls essentially everything. And that's why we see them pushing things like socialism and communism. That's what we see right now. Socialism and communism has a very small section of people that are the ruling elite, and they control everything over everybody else. And that's what these people really want, and they're manipulating everybody else so that they can get into power. It's got nothing to do with caring about everybody else. All of these people are being manipulated. That's why they got the alphabet people with the pro-Ukraine people, with the pro-Palestinian people, with the green people, okay, which don't actually care about environmentalism. I got a special bug about them, okay? I can't stand it because they should be caring about environmentalism, but they don't. They don't care about the environment. They care about pushing a green agenda that's destructive to the environment and to the people. But don't get me started on that. But they're trying to unite them and 15 different other groups, right? All under the hate for the orange man bad. Okay. Orange man bad. And they're like, we're resisting the orange man doing stuff. Why? Because he's bad. Okay. Why are the policies bad for America? Well, he doesn't like immigrants and he's racist. That wasn't my question. Why are the policies bad for America? Well, who's going to pick our food? Because nobody else wants to pick our food. Now, you guys, I'm very much so into agriculture. I love agriculture because I like food. I like to eat. Okay, you'll hear me talk about agriculture because I'm also an environmentalist. That's very important to me. But we got all of these different machines that can pick the food, kill the weeds, sow the land, all of this. We don't need nobody. In another 5 years, there won't be no food picking jobs. Okay? It's crazy. Like people that say that nonsense don't understand what's going on in the agricultural industry at all. They have no clue. They don't know anything about it. And then the ones that are like, oh, well, it's hurting because they're getting rid of all the illegal aliens. Well, you know, Trump, the guy that you said that you hate, you know, the orange man bad, that guy, he said that he wants to work with people that are migrant workers. Okay, migrant, not illegal aliens. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but we won't dig into that today. But he said he wants to work on with those migrant workers to get the appropriate paperwork so that they can work here. Oh, perish the thought. Donald Trump said that he wants to make it so those people that are working there in the agricultural industry can actually stay here. Is that a conversation that the people on the left want to have? Absolutely not. Trump got up on the TV. He said, yeah, I want to tax the rich. Did any Democrats come out and say, oh, yeah, I support that? Nobody. Not one Democrat came out when Trump came on the TV and said that he wanted to tax the rich. Go look that up. Trump said that he wanted to tax the rich more. And none of the Democrats came and said, yeah, I support that. Not a Bernie Sanders, not an Ocasio-Cortez, not an Elizabeth Warren, all of these people out here that say, oh, well, we want to tax the rich. No, you don't. Because the president of the United States, okay, Donald J. Trump said that he wants to tax the rich more, and you said nothing. You did not come and say, yes, we'll support you on this. You said nothing. So you tell me that the Democrats really want to tax the rich? Absolutely not. That's why Bernie Sanders is out there flying on his private jets and going on his private yachts and has 5 different vacation homes and all of this extra money, him and Ocasio-Cortez and all of this nonsense when Ocasio-Cortez won't even pay to get her grandparents' house fixed in Puerto Rico. Stop playing in my face. If you guys want to be part of the conversation, drop a comment below. Somebody just commented. Let's see what we got here. Kevin says, the No King protesters have no respect for what voters decided nationwide last November. That's absolutely it. That's absolutely it. Because what they're doing is they're talking about they want to overthrow the government in favor of what they want. It's not about saying, oh, we don't like him and we don't like the policies, so we're going to do our best to push legislation that's better. Not any of them have any legislation that they're trying to push for that's positive or impactful. Nowhere. You see the Democrats right now in Congress right now, they ain't got nothing. They got zero. They got nothing. Trump said out his mouth he wants to tax the rich more. And where were the Democrats? Nowhere to be found. Okay. He said that he wanted to bring peace to Palestine and let Palestine be their own country. And what did the Democrats say about that? Nothing. Lips zipped. They ain't had nothing to say about that. All these pro-Palestinian protesters out here protesting Trump. Are y'all dumb? Are you stupid? Like Trump said that he wants to make Palestine their own country and make sure that they're supplied with the sovereignty that they need to be able to be their own legitimate nation and recognized. Are you stupid? And you out here against him? Like the one, like make this make sense to me. The one politician that's in a position of power to do anything to actually address the issues that you say that you want to address, you're against him. Make that make sense to me. You understand what I'm saying? And look, the same thing with the Ukraine people, pro-Ukraine people too. Oh, Trump wants to bring an end to the Ukraine issue. Okay, they're we shouldn't do anything until we get Russia all out of Ukraine. It's not happening. It's not happening. And Ukraine used to be part of Russia, and that's a conversation that we don't want to have. But we could also use that conversation to have the continuing conversation about what's going on in Eastern Europe and how the nations are still fighting amongst themselves that broke away during the collapse of the Warsaw Pact and the Iron Curtain after the USSR fell. But we can't have that conversation because that's too much like right. If the people that are ethnically Russian don't want to be part of Ukraine, let them have that land. Stop playing. But you talking about you going to fight till the last man when you ain't even over there. Take yourself over there. You care so much. Show me. And I believe you from the actions that you take. That's all I'm saying. Like I saw over the weekend, some of these crazy pro-Palestinian people actually went over to Egypt and started protesting. You guys, I found that to be so hilarious because that's what I've been advocating for. I send you all over there and don't come back, okay? You want to go over there to the Middle East, have a problem over there. Don't give us none. We ain't got nothing to do with what's over there, and we don't care, okay? So apparently some of them went over there and were protesting in Egypt, and the Egyptian people, not the police or nobody else, the Egyptian people were putting the bangs to them. The Egyptian people were like, this is what we're not doing over here. And it was beating them into the ground and then loaded them up on a bus and pushed them out of Egypt. Craziness. I was like, I'm not always with Egypt, but when I'm with Egypt, I'm with them on that. You understand what I'm saying? Because how dare they, right? How dare they? In a whole nother country, man, please don't even get me started. And if you guys know anything about the history of Egypt don't mess with the Palestinians. And you might ask, well, why if they're both Muslim nations? Because whenever Egypt has taken Palestinian refugees, they've tried to overthrow the government in Egypt. The same things happened in Jordan and Syria as well. So that's why they don't want any of them. But that's a much larger conversation that we can't actually have because people don't want to have these important conversations. Hit the share button, get this message out there. Let's have these important conversations. Hit a thumbs up, hit a heart. Okay, drop in the comments. I'm listening. I'm watching. Drop that. I'm here. Put a hands up or put a heart out there and drop an American flag in the comments. And if you want to have part of this conversation, drop a comment. If you're on the radio and you can't catch us every week, go to my YouTube channel. It's the Marcus C. Williams channel. You'll find me on there. Now let's get back into it. Okay, did somebody else just drop a comment here? What's this? Dave dropped a comment. Okay, Dave, hold on. Let's pop your comment up. Dave says, I didn't see any black people at the No Kings protest. It was old, white, and middle-aged women who looked like they owned lots of cats. Dave, you play too much. But it's true, though. It's true, though. That's not our fight as black Americans, especially. That's not our fight. Those No Kings protests have nothing to do with us. How does that help push anything positive for black Americans? They're out there protesting to keep illegal aliens, which, as I was mentioning earlier, hurts black Americans. That's not good for us. That ain't got nothing to do with us. You're protesting against tearing down, you're protesting to tear down our government. And who's going to get it worst if you tear down the government? Black Americans, black people. You're going to hurt us the most. We ain't got no time for none of that. That's your own nonsense. You want to fight that battle? You go fight that battle. We ain't having no part in it. And ain't no reason that no black person should have no part in lifting up other people when ain't nobody ever lift us up. Never. And if we look at it again, like Dave said, these old white women, the only thing that the old white women have ever done for black Americans is put in policies that are baby policies to baby people to really keep them subjugated below. That's all they ever wanted. It's the Klan in action. So if you guys aren't familiar with like the original plan of the Ku Klux Klan and stuff like that, and they gotten away from this over the years, which to me is a more bigger problem than anything else. But the original portion of their ideology was that they saw black Americans as a tool that was integral to our country and the prosperity of our country. So they were to keep us just underneath them. So as the so-called white race, I'm using quote fingers. So as the so-called white race went up, they would give the black people whatever it is that was just underneath them to keep them below them, but also to allow them to come up some so that we can continue to build the country. So this was the original concept that they were supposed to be working under, and then that turned into crazy nonsense. And that's why we are where we are, and that's why there's hardly no white Americans actually left, which is a whole nother conversation. Okay, they did that to themselves because they messed up because they wanted to then try to go get rid of black people. That was dumb. And now look how you're looking. You look real stupid right now. Okay, all these illegal aliens in the country, all of these foreigners taking over everything. Look, you did that. Should have left black people alone. Wasn't nobody bothering y'all. See, but that goes into further conversation of how the Democrat Party are really the Klan, and they supported the Klan. They founded the Klan. Andrew Jackson, stuff like that. Look him up, okay? And they've continued that on in their policies. To this day, they still put out policies that are harmful to black Americans because you're going to tell me that they're out here giving all this stuff to illegal aliens instead of Americans? How does that benefit black Americans? It doesn't. It harms our communities. It's taking money and food out of our mouths, literally. Because if they do that, that means the taxes got to go up. That means that we got to get taxed more. It's a problem. It's a serious problem. So they push all of this stuff for all of these other people, but black Americans. And then when the black American says boo, oh, then it's a problem. And now let me send out a rebuke for these so-called conservatives and these so-called right wingers or Republicans that feel this way. You guys that all push this DEI or this black fatigue nonsense, y'all need to wake up. Y'all the number one people that need to wake up and see how you're being manipulated by the media and the left. How dare you? DEI was nothing but self-service for white leftist liberal women. Who benefited the most? White liberal leftist women. And you got the nerve and audacity to say that's got something to do with black folk? That ain't got nothing to do with black folk. What? Because they got a Jesse Jackson who don't even represent black Americans, who tried to push on us the concept of being African American when we ain't got nothing to do with Africa. Black Americans, 96 to 97% of black Americans trace their heritage back to American, Native American, American Indian ancestry, not Africa, American Indian. Now I say American Indian, not Native American, because American Indian is what the treaties say, okay? There's a very important distinction. Okay, we are not $5 Indians like a lot of these people nowadays. Trump knows what a $5 Indian is. You should see his testimony before Congress, where he was like, where he was doing a thing on the on doing a new what do you call it? On doing a new casino, and they were like, oh well, what about these Indians and stuff like that? He said, these don't look like no Indians that I've ever seen. He had me rolling because they're not. What's propagated right now in the media is the whitest of white American Indians that you can ever see. The whitest of white. They're not Indians. They're not from here. Okay. Nobody on this land was that white. Nobody has those features. If you look at the original, especially on the East Coast, everybody was very dark. Okay. And if you look at the writings of the original settlers and Christopher Columbus and other people like that, okay, you see that they described us as having African-esque features and Negroid features and stuff like that, and being very dark and stuff like that. And you can still see them in the etchings and the drawings and stuff like that. Don't look like no white Indian. You playing with me in my face. Okay, and if you ask any generation before mine, every Black American, the older Black Americans, all of them know that we're American Indian. We're not from Africa. That's some stuff that was pushed on us from Jesse Jackson. So when you tell me as a so-called conservative or a so-called Republican or whatever, oh, DEI is about Black people or whatever, check yourself. Because it's not about us. That's some leftist nonsense that was pushed and forced on us, on my people, that we didn't want to have nothing to do with. And they trouted out a very few select group of so-called Black leaders and people to try to push that nonsense that, again, wasn't good for Black America. Come on now. Then you're going to say, oh, well, this is that and that's that. Come on now, stop playing in my face. Then you got a nerve talk about, oh, well, Black fatigue. Look at all of these Blacks behaving badly. First of all, white people make up the majority of crime in this country. Violent, aggressive, group violence, fights and stuff like that. White people make up the majority of those crimes. Okay, so if that's what you're getting in your social media feed, you need to start wondering what content it is that you're liking, that's always what's popping up in your social media feed when it does not reflect the FBI statistics or the actual crime statistics in the nation. Hello, somebody stop me when I'm wrong. Okay, I got idiot fatigue. Okay, a whole bunch of idiots out here propagating nonsense that's being forced down the throats of the American people, and y'all out here eating it up. Okay, like it's good and like it's good for you, when it's making you weak and it's making you miss the actual mark and not be able to see clearly. Come on now. These are serious conversations we need to be having. And if you want to be part of the conversation, drop a comment below. Okay, hit the share button, get this out to more people, hit the retweet. It don't cost you anything to hit the retweet button. Okay, these are important conversations. But can we actually have these important conversations? See, because right now, and I'm going to speak about Black America right now. Okay, right now, Juneteenth, it's the time for Juneteenth, right? So Juneteenth is a Black American and military holiday. We just celebrated Memorial Day, which was a Black American and military holiday. Black Americans are the originators of Memorial Day. Please go look it up. Okay, go look that up, right? So this is another Black American military holiday. It's celebrating the Union Army going down to Texas and pushing General Order number 2, and putting out there that the slaves have been freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. So that's an important core fact of our history that everybody should be celebrating. That is a great thing. That is the reunification of our nation after the Civil War and an end to slavery, which America is one of the most notable countries that did that. But can we have that serious conversation? No, because what's been happening is these people are trying to push this whole Africanization of Juneteenth. It's no longer about Black Americans. Now it's about Africa. I seen one of our legislators down at the county ledge talking about she's out here with these people dressed in African garb. Ain't nothing in Africa got nothing to do with Black Americans, and this is a Black American holiday. It ain't got nothing to do with Africa. Nothing. Nothing African, nothing Caribbean. Okay, none of it. None of it got nothing to do with that. Black Americans can't have nothing for themselves. Nothing. Do you know that there is an actual flag for Juneteenth? Guess what colors the actual flag for Juneteenth are? Red, white, and blue. Boom. Why? Because it's an American holiday. It is a Black American holiday, not some Pan-African nonsense that they keep trying to push on us. Because what they're doing, you guys, and I need all the white people to really understand this, especially if you are an actual white American that has lineage to white America, okay? I need you to understand the same thing that they did to try to erase the white Americans, okay, in America, where they just muddled all of these other people together, the Italians, the Irish, all of these people, they just muddled everybody together, and now everybody else is white. They're doing the same thing to Black Americans, and we're not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for it. I deal with a lot of Italians. I love me some Italians. I love y'all. Okay. Okay. I deal with a lot of them, and they are very proud of their Italian heritage, right? But Italians aren't what you would consider to be native white. And none of these Caribbeans or Africans are what you would consider to be native Black. Okay. They would not be considered a native son of this country. Black Americans are. And that's a serious conversation that we need to have as they try to erase us and lump all of the melanated people, anybody that looks like they got a little complexion to them, in as Black. And this has happened over the last 3 to 4 decades. Okay. And it's gotten accelerated over the last 10 to 15 years. I've seen it happen myself. Okay. Where they're now trying to say, oh, well, everybody's Black. Ain't none of these other people Black. They all say, oh, I'm Nigerian. Oh, I'm Haitian. Oh, I'm Jamaican. Oh, I'm Kenyan. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. They don't want to be Black. They're Black when it's convenient. And that's all. When they Black, when they got to associate as being Black American, they don't want that association. Because it's not the same. Okay? And that's a serious problem that they keep trying to push, erasing Black Americans. But we still got our documents, we still got our history, and it's still in the Library of Congress, and it's still in the records of many of the states of not just our contributions, but our lineage and our heritage in this nation. And they're trying to erase us. That's why they're bringing in all of these illegal aliens from all across the world. Okay, that's why they're pumping all of these other so-called dark-skinned ethnicities into this country. Black is a ethno-nationality. It's short for Black American because we love in America to shorten up words. Okay, the same thing that colored people is short for the copper colored people, which is what American Indians were called, okay, which is what Black Americans were called. We even had magazines and stuff like that, the copper colored girls and stuff like that. That's our people. That's our history. That's our lineage. And now they want to make all of this stuff Pan-Africanized, okay? You see these African colors, okay, on Juneteenth, it ain't got nothing to do with us, okay? We have an actual flag for Juneteenth, and it's red, white, and blue. It's not black, green, and orange. I mean, black, green, and red. It's not orange, yellow, and all these other colors, okay? It's disrespectful. I saw Kathy Hochul's people in Buffalo the other day on Juneteenth talking about, oh, if you love Africans, say, hey, we're celebrating Juneteenth. I wanted to say, mother effer, what? The level of insult, the level of insult. I say, shouldn't no Black person vote for Kathy Hochul or what's his name, Delgado, okay, with his non-Black self, okay? Because these Democrats don't care about Black Americans. All of their policies are for everybody else but Black Americans. And I need the so-called conservatives and Republicans to understand this concept, because the conservative values, the Republican foundational values, all of these are the values of the Black American in American society. But you're losing our people because you're trying to lump us in with all of this leftist trash garbage that don't got nothing to do with us. And you let these little people that are involved that are really trying to just use the Republicans or the conservatives as a way to promote racism because they see it as more so of a white thing, which you guys shouldn't be letting them use it like that. And that's my message to all of these talking heads out there, the Hodge twins, the Charlie Kirk, and the rest of them. Y'all doing us a disservice as a whole movement. It's crazy. If y'all want to be part of this conversation, drop a comment, drop a thumbs up, hit a heart, drop a flag in the comments, okay, whatever. Just let me know you're listening. Say, hey, okay, We got a comment. Who's that? Melanie Walker says, preach. Thank you. Appreciate you, sis. So we got this serious issue going on right now where they're trying to erase Black Americans because we have traditionally conservative values, because we appreciate, okay, what they don't appreciate, which is conservative values, which is faith, which is freedom, which is liberty, which is self-determination, which is doing for ourselves, which is telling the government to stay out of our business, which is paying as little tax as possible, which is small government because we should be self-governing, which is all of the foundational principles of our nation and of the Republican Party and of conservative values. But the messaging ain't out there the way it needs to be right now from all of these talking heads that are supposed to be conservative, that are out here that are supposed to be Republican. Y'all sending the wrong message, and then they're like, oh, well, we don't know how to talk to Black people. Yes, you do. The same way that you talk to white people. It ain't no difference. Don't nobody need no code switching to talk to Black Americans. We ain't illiterate. We know how to read, listen, and talk. Are you stupid? Stop being condescending. It's the same message that you send to the white people. That's the same message that you need to be sending to the Black people. It's the same message. Message don't change. Faith, family, freedom, financial independence from the government. Okay? It ain't nothing different. Come on now. Are we having a real conversation or what? Drop a comment below. Let's have this conversation together and make sure that you're sharing this out with everyone you know, okay? And make sure that if you're not hitting subscribe or following already, hit subscribe or follow and share this out on other channels. Hit the thumbs up, drop a comment. Every comment helps to get out to more people. And let's make this happen. Let's have these important conversations. Now, I do want to touch on a couple of things as we get ready to get out of here. Again, back to Democrat policies that are destroying our country right here in my area. And we've got a government overreach and government surveillance that's being pushed. Right now, we're seeing that being ushered in under these riots where they're talking about, oh, yes, Palantir and other things. We need more surveillance. They need to be facial recognizing everybody and tracking them. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. And any good Republican or any good conservative should be standing up against the continued onslaught of government surveillance. The left are pushing this government surveillance because they want to put all power in the government. Now we got talking heads like Laura Loomer talking about, oh, yes, we need more biosurveillance and stuff like that. No, we didn't. We need to be standing up to this on the local level. I talked to my local city council the other day. I was like, listen, we need a bill prohibiting this here in Rochester right now before it comes forward. We need to stop it now. We got to stop it on the local levels before it gets more prevalent. If it's not us, who's going to do it? If it's not now, then it'll never happen. We must unite together, and we must stop this nonsense where we're so focused on the federal government that we can't understand that this stuff is also happening on our local level while we're distracted with what's going on the federal level. That's my message to you. You got to get active. You got to start participating in local politics. Go to a city council meeting. Go to a school board meeting. Go to a fire district meeting or whatever where you are. Go to a county ledge meeting. Start understanding what is being done and what's going on. Start reading some of these bills and pieces of legislation that they're passing. Because I'm telling you, as sure as you are hearing my voice right now, they are pushing stuff all throughout our country, whether you're a Republican area or you're a Democrat area, that are peeling away our rights, liberties, and freedoms that have been gifted to us by the Lord, our Father in heaven above, and they are eroding our Constitution, especially the Bill of Rights. I gotta sneeze. But this is serious and this is real. And we got to stand up now before there is no more time to stand up. I'm trying to warn you guys ahead of time. This is me sending up a signal flare. This is me sending out an emergency message to everybody that's within earshot. If we don't prepare now, the amount of government surveillance that's going to be out here is going to be too much for us to compete with. All of these little assassinations or all of these little riots and stuff like that are all pushing to usher in more government surveillance, and we must stop it now before it is too late. In order to do that, we must get local legislation on our municipal levels and on our county levels in order to change this. We can't do it alone. We have to do it together, but we have to start locally. And even if you are the sole person coming to speak up at your local meetings about that, you need to. If you're the sole person speaking up for better education in your area, you need to. It is up to us to make a difference in our nation. Nobody is coming to save us. Nobody's coming up off a cloud. Nobody's coming in on a white horse. Nobody's coming up out from underneath the ground. Nobody's going to teleport in from another dimension. It is up to us as American citizens and people who really care about our nation to stand up and to take action on the local level. We must get active, and we must start finding others that are willing to push positive legislation that is going to peel back government overreach, that is going to peel back authoritarianism on the local level. They got everybody so concerned with the federal level, but specifically Trump, and Trump ain't doing nothing. I like how Trump said the other day, I don't feel like a king. I got to fight everybody on everything to even do a little bit of something. He's 100% right. They're like, he's an authoritarian. He's a dictator. He's a this, he's a that. They ain't lock up one of the people that I want them to lock up yet. I want them to lock up all of those people that forced that COVID tyranny on us. I want them to lock up all of those people that pushed the FBI to surveil good American Christians and Catholics. I want them to lock up all of them. They ain't locked up not one of them yet. They ain't locked up none of them yet. Justina says, so true. Thank you, Justina. They ain't lock up none of them yet. What you mean he's a tyrant? He ain't out here locking up political opponents. Hold on, you guys. You guys, thank you for tuning in to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 with Marcus C. Williams. I'll catch you guys next Tuesday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. So you guys online, you guys, they're like, Trump's, oh, he's a dictator and stuff like that. He ain't arrest nobody. Ain't nobody arrested. He ain't arrested nobody. And I'm mad. I put up a post earlier about Cash Patel. Cash, I need to see some of these fools go to jail that you promised me was going to go to jail. Ain't nobody on the Epstein thing going to jail. Ain't none of these people that was attacked coming after our people going to jail. Ain't none of these COVID tyrants going to jail. Nobody is going to jail. Y'all promised me, lock them up. Okay, Hillary too. Okay, I don't care what the heck it looks like. I don't care what somebody else says. I understand. I guess people don't want to die because the Clintons kill people when they think that somebody getting close to them. But the point and the fact of the matter is this: what we've got going on right now is not tyranny. It's not oppression. Because if it was, I'd actually see some of these people going to jail that you say that he don't like so much. Okay, I ain't seen none of these crazy leftists go to jail yet. I ain't seen none of these mayors or anybody that's pushing this sanctuary city nonsense go to jail. Okay, I ain't seen nobody go to jail yet at all. And again, I want them COVID tyrants, all of them, to go to jail, prison. Okay, prison for what they did to us. Okay, violations of the Constitution, violations of the Bills of Rights, violation of the First Amendment, violation of the Second Amendment. Ain't no way Kathy Hochul ain't in prison for violations of the First and Second Amendment. Ain't no way. Kathy Hochul is my governor in New York State, if you're not familiar. But these are the problems that we have, that they're trying to get you to focus somewhere else and say, oh, well, this is what's going on. There ain't no authoritarianism here. Like, are you serious? Like, where is Trump locking up his political opponents? Are you serious? Like, and this isn't me jockeying for him. This is me just pointing out the facts, because we see that actually happening in Democrat-run states where they'll lock up people that disagree with them. We saw it during the COVID tyranny that they were locking up people just for going to church. They had informant lines for you to call to inform on somebody for having more than 2 people at Thanksgiving. Are you serious? They were calling the police and the sheriff on you for not wearing a mask. Are you serious? None of those people are in prison right now. Are you serious? All of them need to be in prison. Talking about tyranny. Then they're like, oh, you guys that are Republican or support Trump or whatever the case is, and I support myself. I support foundational Republican values. I don't care who's in office. I don't care who's at the head of the thing. If you're wrong and I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. Whether that's here local, whether that's there federally, I don't care who you are, what party, because I stand on morals and values that not everybody's able to say that they stand on. And that's a fact. But this is very important, because what we see right now is them trying to propagate this false nonsense as they usher in more power for the government. Y'all out there want to put more power in the hands of the government, and you're talking about Trump's a tyrant, but you want to give more power to the government? Make it make sense to me. That's what I got for you guys right now. Hit me up, shoot me a message, drop a comment, share this with your friends. I'll catch you guys next Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. And you guys can always comment, follow my YouTube page, the Marcus C. Williams channel, or if you're on Facebook, subscribe, follow me on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, and subscribe on X and Twitter, wherever you want to call it today. I'm also on TikTok now. You'll find me, Marcus C. Williams. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Be blessed and be well.